All right, so this is Genesis, the 22nd chapter. I'm going to start at verse 1. It says, and it came to pass after these things that God did tempt Abraham. So God's tempting Abraham right here. And the way he's going to tempt Abraham is not a way that he tempts everybody, all right? This is something special that he was doing with this man for whatever reason. For some reason, God chose this man, all right? He could have chose whoever he wanted, but he chose Abraham, all right? It says, and it came to pass after these things that God did tempt Abraham and said unto him, Abraham. And he said, behold, here I am. Verse 2. And he said, take now thy son, thine only son, Isaac, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell of thee. It says, and Abraham rose up early in the morning and saddled his ass and took 2 of his young men with him, and Isaac his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up and went unto the place which God had told him. So what's happening right here is the Lord just said, look, wake up, go get your son Isaac, take him up to the land of Moriah, and sacrifice for me. Basically, go kill your son to me. That's what he told Abraham to do. Now, if the Lord said that to anybody else out here, you have to ask yourself, would you really get up and go do it? Do you got the heart to actually go kill your own kid, all right? Now, the next verse after that, it says, Abraham rose up early. He got up early in the morning, got him a donkey. It says, and he got 2 men with him, and he took his son. So Abraham wasn't going to question him. He wasn't going to play no games. He was going to do exactly what the Lord told him to do, all right? Verse 4, it says, then on the 3rd day, Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off. It says, Abraham said unto his young men, abide ye here with the ass. It says, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship and come again to you. Verse 6, it says, and Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Isaac his son. And he took the fire in his hand and a knife, and they went both of them together. Verse 7, and Isaac spake unto Abraham his father. So Isaac's looking at what's going on. He's going to ask his dad a question. It says, and Isaac spake unto Abraham his father and said, my father. And he said, here am I, my son. And he said, behold, the fire of the wood. He says, behold, the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering? So, all right. So he said, basically, look, Pop, I see the fire, I see the wood, but I don't see the goat, I don't see the ram. So where's the burnt offering that we're getting ready to burn? You know what I'm saying? It says, verse 8, and Abraham said, my son, God will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together. Verse 9, and they came to the place which God had told of him, and Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound himself. It says, and verse 9, and they came to the place which God had told him of, and Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood. So basically he laid his son Isaac on the wood so that he could sacrifice him, all right? Verse 10, and Abraham stretched forth his hand and took the knife to slay his son. Verse 11, and the angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, here I am. Verse 12, and he said, lay not thy hand upon the lad, neither do thou anything unto him. For now I know that thou fearest God, seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, from me. So basically, he's seen what Abraham did. He was tempting him, and Abraham showed that he had faith because he got up to do what the Lord said. And he didn't just, oh yeah, I have faith. He showed that he had faith by his works, because he picked up the knife and was actually getting ready to do it, but the Lord stopped. The Lord wasn't really going to have him do that. That was just the Lord testing him, all right? Verse 13. It says, and Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him a ram caught in a thicket by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered him up for a burnt offering in the stead of his son. And isn't it crazy that the Lord already told Abraham, look, I'm going to establish my covenant with your son Isaac. But even after the Lord did that, he still told Abraham, look, go sacrifice your son. So in Abraham's mind, he had to be like, well, Lord, you already said that I'm going to have an everlasting covenant with him, so how am I going to go kill him? But he didn't even question that. He just got up and did it, all right? The Lord didn't do this to everybody, all right? He's doing this to Abraham, and he told him to do it to his son Isaac, all right? The fathers of the promise, Abraham, Isaac. We haven't got to the next one yet, all right? Verse 14. And Abraham called the name of the place Jehovah Jireh, as it is said to this day, and the mount of the Lord, Yahweh, it shall be seen. Verse 15. And the angel of the Lord Yahweh called upon Abraham out of heaven the second time, and said, by myself have I sworn, saith Yahweh. Now, this was, nobody else is with him. He's by himself, all right? He said, by myself have I sworn, saith Yahweh, For because thou hast done this thing, and hast not withheld thy son, thine only son, verse 17, that in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed as the stars of heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore. And thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies, all right? So if you go to the seashore, you see all that sand there, there's no way if you took just a handful of that sand, you can't count how much sand is in your hand just off of a handful. Well, he's saying he's gonna multiply his seed as the whole seashore, all the sand there, he's saying he's gonna multiply his seed like that. The reason he said it, because he said he didn't withhold his son from him, all right? So there's no way on the planet Earth that everybody has these blessings coming to them when everybody on the planet Earth was not being tested this way, all right? The Lord tested Abraham like that, and the Lord's blessing him because of his faith and his righteousness, all right? You have to understand that. If you do not understand that, then you do not understand what's going on in this Bible, all right? Verse 18, it says, and in thy seed shall all nations of the earth be blessed, because thou hast obeyed my voice, because of what Abraham did. He obeyed his voice, so because of that, all the seed of the earth are gonna be blessed through him, all right? Now, let's go to the 25th chapter, all right? I know I'm taking it kind of long, I'm trying to hurry it up. This is Genesis, the 25th chapter, all right? And I'm starting at the 11th verse, all right? And it came to pass after the death of Abraham, so now we're talking about after Abraham died. Abraham died now, all right? So this seed thing that the Lord is talking about through a seed, it has to continue on. And it's gonna continue on through his son Isaac, because we already read that the Lord was making a covenant with Isaac, right? So we know Abraham's gone, so the Lord's gonna go to the next man, he's gonna deal with Isaac now, all right? So it says, and it came to pass after the death of Abraham that God blessed his son Isaac. And Isaac dwelt by the well Laharoi, all right? So I read that just to show that now that Abraham's gone, the Lord's going to deal with his son now, with Isaac, all right? And remember, we already read that the Lord, he blessed Ishmael for sure. He blessed him and made him a great prince. 12 princes were gonna come, he was gonna be a great nation, but the covenant is gonna continue on through his son Isaac, just like the Lord said. Now, if the Lord was lying, then this covenant he wouldn't be talking to Isaac anymore. He would be talking to somebody else, you know? But the Lord's not lying. So of course, just like when he told Abraham, look, you're gonna have a son, it's the same time next year. And then we went and got the verse where it said, just like the Lord said, that same time next year, he gave him a son, all right? So it's gonna be the same thing. The Lord said he's gonna make a covenant with Isaac. So now we should be reading about a covenant that the Lord was gonna make with Isaac, all right? We should be reading about that covenant a little bit more. So we're gonna go to the 25th chapter of Genesis. I'm gonna start at the 19th verse. This Genesis 25 and 19. It said, and these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. It says, Abraham begat Isaac, verse 20. And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padanaram, the sister to Laban, the Syrian. Verse 21. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife. Isaac entreated the Lord Yahweh for his wife because she was barren. And Yahweh was entreated of him. And Rebekah, his wife, conceived. So he prayed to the Lord because she was barren, she wasn't pregnant. The Lord heard him, and then his wife conceived. She got pregnant, right? It says, verse 22, and the children struggled together within her. Now this is going to talk about Isaac's children, because remember, Abraham had Isaac, he had Ishmael, and the covenant carried on through Isaac. Now we're reading about the children that Isaac had, and who's the covenant going to go to after that, all right? It says, and the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? If we pray to you, and you let this happen, you were entreated of us, and you let me conceive, why are these babies fighting in my stomach? If this is of you, why is this going on, all right? And it says, and she went to inquire of the Lord Yahweh. Verse 23, and Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb. So they're twins in her stomach, but the Lord is telling her that these 2 twins are going to grow to be 2 different nations of people, and those 2 nations of people are still on the planet Earth today, whether people understand that or not. But like I said, if you don't read this, there's no way you can understand what's going on in the Bible, all right? It says, and the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. So they're twins, but they're going to be 2 different manner of people, and they're going to be separated, all right? They're not going to be together. This is the Lord's doing. And like I said, this is written in the New Testament too. So if you don't understand what's going on here, there's no way you're going to understand what it's talking about when you get to the book of Romans, all right? There's no way. The 9th chapter, all right? It says, and the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elders shall serve the younger, all right? Verse 24, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb, all right? It says, and the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. It says, like a hairy garment, And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. Okay, so the first one came out red and he came out hairy. The name Esau means wasted away is heat. All right, and that means that the pigment or the melanin in the skin wasn't there, it was wasted away. So you could see the blood through his skin. That's why I said he was red. All right.